What's up, podcast fam? Welcome back, or welcome if you are new to the Uniquely Wired podcast. I am your one and only host, Nani. And y'all, on this episode, I want to talk about something very important in our journey as autism parents, and that is the emotional load of advocacy. The emotional load of advocacy and what it really feels like um to fight for your child day after day, year after year, month after month. I mean, it is a daily fight. If you've ever walked into an IEP meeting and your heart was pounding, I mean, you felt like it was getting ready to come out of your chest. If you have left a therapy session wondering if you said enough, if you did enough, if you even were enough, this episode is for you. So let's get right into it. And let's first define the word advocacy, right? For those of you that may be wondering, what exactly is the definition, right? Because we get into this journey of autism parenting and we hear that word a lot. You have to advocate, you have to advocate. But okay, what does that actually mean? So, advocacy simply means speaking up, standing up, and taking action on behalf of someone else or yourself so that their needs, rights, or voice are heard and respected. Okay. So it's pretty much making sure your child is being given exactly what they need. Okay. And that they are being treated equally. So that's pretty much what advocacy is. And I want to share a quick example, and you guys have heard this before, but if you're new, then it's your first time hearing it. But when I was in the process of trying to get my daughter more services, actually, it was just me trying to get her more time, okay? Because I was told that she was only going to be receiving 30 minutes of speech a month, which I thought was absolutely insane, didn't make any sense. And so in that moment, I didn't know what to do. I was like, "Oh my gosh," like I didn't want to just go with the flow because it was just not making sense for me that that's all they were going to offer her, right? Or that's all that they could offer her. And so what I had to do was put my advocacy cape on, okay? And start doing my research, start asking questions. And so I remember reaching out to someone who is very familiar with, IEPs and advocating and all that fun stuff that comes with autism parenting or special needs parenting in general. And then, I was told about this lawyer that specifically works with the school district and parents of children with special needs. And so, long story short, I was able to get that attorney, and he guided me and told me what I should say, not say, what to do, what not to do. And so, it was a moment where I really felt stressed out. The emotional load was real, the mental load was real, that eventually all of that was reflecting on my body. I was starting to feel it physically. And it was so much during that season, you guys, that I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. I had so many voices speaking to me, so many things, that I had to really take a step back and reevaluate the situation and see what's going to be best for my daughter. And I knew that the best thing to do was to get her out of there and find a better placement for her, because at this point they were already showing me that they didn't have enough to give her. They didn't have what she actually needed, whether it was in that moment or in the near future. And so, by the grace of God, she's in a better school now. But, that just shows you just a little bit of advocacy and what it can look like. And so, me sharing that story, maybe you feel like you have been in a situation like that, where you've been in an IEP meeting and you have to speak up for your child and exactly what they need and what may seem fair for them. Maybe you have been on insurance calls, and those can take forever. If doctor calls, trying to find the right specialist, trying to find the right pediatrician. Like, it's just so much that comes with it, you guys, that I feel that it's not told to you when you get a diagnosis and you get that paper of what your child can and cannot do, that you're not told, hey, get ready because this is what you're getting ready for. You are getting ready to advocate your boots off for your child. Like, you're not told that. You're not told that. You are just given this big packet that just states your child's diagnosis and go on about your day and figure life out. That's it. I mean, I don't know how it is now, but that's how it was when my daughter was first diagnosed back in 2018. Okay. And then my son in 2021. So it's just crazy to me, right? That we have to fight so hard. But as a Christian woman, I always take things to what God tells me to do, what the Bible instructs me to do, and what the Bible teaches me on advocating and how to do that in a pleasing way, in a loving and kind way. Because I'm telling you, mom and dad, I promise you, you don't have to walk into that IEP meeting trying to prove your point. You don't have to walk into that meeting, with an attitude, being arrogant. No, walk in there with your head held high, knowing that everything is going to be okay, and use your God given authority. I'm not saying let them step over you, absolutely not. But speak with authority. Okay, speak like you know your child, like you know the law, like you know what your child's IEP states, and just do it that way. And I'm telling you, they're going to be like, "Whoa." Okay? So, that's just part of my personal experience with advocating. Um I will say advocacy isn't just meetings, it's emails, it's research, it's pushing through red tape, daily reminders, and carrying your child's voice where they can't. Okay? So in other words, you cannot expect someone to bring everything to you to the table. Like, you cannot expect that. And if you just got your child's diagnosis and you are just sitting there waiting for everything to be given to you, honey, newsflash, it's not going to happen. You need to do your part as your child's mother, as your child's father, and you need to rise up, okay? And start doing your research. Stop waiting for people to give you answers. Start looking, start making the calls, start searching for therapies for your child, because it's not going to come to you. It's not going to be given to you. So do your part. And this is tough love right now, you guys. I am talking so passionate right now, not because I want you to feel bad, but because I really want you to understand that advocacy, it doesn't mean that someone is going to come here for you and give it to you. No, you have to get up and do your part. Look in your county, look in your city, in your state, do your research, connect with people in your community that are familiar with the system. Don't do this alone. There is help, okay? There is help, and you can do this. So I will say this for this specific section. Every email feels like a small battle, okay? Every phone call might feel like a small battle. But that's okay. Okay. And I want you to understand that sometimes advocacy feels like a second full time job, but without breaks or pay. And that's just how it is in this journey. You're going to be doing so many things for your child, and you're going to be fighting so hard that, girl, listen, it ain't, you're not going to get paid. Okay. And I'm talking about actual money. You're not going to get paid, because these are things that it's more than just working an actual full-time job. You are your child's voice 24/7. This isn't just 5 days out of the week, 8-hour shift. No, this is a 24-hour shift, 7 days in a row. It just doesn't end. 365 days a year. Like, it does not end. You are constantly going to find yourself having to advocate for your child about something for something. Um Now I want to break down just a few feelings that may pile up in this journey. And, you know, it's pretty much the emotional toll. Okay. And those feelings are exhaustion, mental and physical burnout. This is real. This is why I can't stress it enough and tell you to take time for yourself. I don't care if you're just sitting in front of your house in your backyard in the tub, for Christ's sake. I don't care how you do it. Take time to decompress because the mental and the physical burnout is real. It is real. The next feeling is frustration. Fighting a system that often feels unmovable can bring up frustration. Okay, but I encourage you to not let that fester too much in your heart, in your mind. Shake it off. It's okay. You're going to get those feelings. You're going to get all these feelings I'm going to mention. But what I want you to understand is that I don't want you to just dwell on those feelings. I want you to literally shake them off and don't sit in them, don't drown in them. The next one is isolation. This is a big, big, big one in the autism community and really in the special needs community as a whole. Sorry, can't get my words out. But I'm specifically speaking to the autism community because that's what this podcast focuses on. But feeling like no one else gets the weight that you carry is real. And so isolation easily creeps in. The next one is guilt, another big one. Wondering if you're doing enough or too much or what not. Um, Another one is resentment, wishing it wasn't always you carrying this load. And so you start to resent people around you. And we have to be very careful about that because that eventually turns into bigger things and bigger feelings. And you don't want that. You just don't want that. Um, and last but not least, grief. Mourning the normal, and if you're not watching, I'm doing the quotations, the normal parenting journey you thought you would have. And so grief is a big one as well. And I would say some days I have left IEP meetings sad. I've left IEP meetings frustrated, angry, that I will get in my car and all I could do is cry. Cry. Because either I didn't feel understood in that meeting or I didn't feel like I did enough or that I didn't speak enough or that I didn't get all my thoughts out. Um but then there are other days that I put on my brave face, okay? And I do that at home or in my car. And I get it done. I get it done. And I feel at the end of it, I feel so accomplished and like I did something so good. So please know that you are going to feel so many emotions. I'm telling you, not just in an IEP meeting, but just on the day-to-day life of being an autism mom or dad or both parents. Like it's an everyday thing. It's an everyday assignment. But please remember that advocacy is holy work, but it's also heavy work. So remember that. Um, okay, so let's talk about how it shows up in our lives, right? How advocacy stress spills into marriage, friendships, church, and even physical health. Okay, when you are advocating so much nonstop, especially those of you who, maybe are just having such a hard time with the school system, you're having a hard time with getting medical help for your child. You're having a hard time with insurance approval and financial, and you're constantly on that advocating road, which again, we are on it every single day. But I'm talking to those families more that, it's just literally overwhelming you and you can't seem to find a rest. Um, this can eventually get into your marriage if you're married. This can eventually get into your friendships or any type of relationship because you are so stressed all the time about it, and that's all you're thinking about. I have to advocate. I have to advocate. I have to call here. I have to do this. That, listen, when your friend hits you up, here you go, giving them a nasty attitude, and they had nothing to do with what you just went through. Or your partner comes over and tries to share something with you, and you're just passing at them because you are so overwhelmed. You're not even realizing it. You're being mean to yourself. That's how much it can reflect that advocating stress. Um, there's an invisible part. Most people just see you as strong, but they don't see the breakdown afterward. So I've been to IEP meetings, and 9 times out of 10, I'm going into the meeting pretty, confident, my head held high. But guess what? Right after that meeting, I tend to break down because I was just told of all the things my daughter or my son cannot do. And I am taken back to square one, and I am reminded of their challenges and their difficulties. And I have worked so hard to move past that and focus on what's now, on what they are doing, on what they have accomplished, the milestones that they have reached. So there is the strong part of you, but there's also a part of you that breaks down. And I want you to understand that that's not a sign of weakness. That is not a sign of weakness. So I want to ask you a reflective question. Okay, this is a reflection for you as listeners. How does the emotional load of advocacy show up in your daily life? I want you to ask yourself that question and answer it. Is it in your body? Is it in your mood? In your relationships? In your mind? How is it? How is it showing up daily? Um, I would say for me, I would answer that question for myself. It shows up in many ways, in many, many ways. And I think for me, it feels like it depends too, um, what that week might have looked like and what exactly am I doing to overcome that, whether it's the stress or whatever that may look like. Um, but I do want to offer, before I end this episode, I do want to offer some encouragement first and foremost, but also practical strategies. I didn't just want to come on here and not actually give you some strategies. So here are my strategies. Rest without guilt. Sometimes advocacy means pausing too. Like, advocacy is not always being on the go. It's not. It is pausing as well. I want you to find your village if you haven't done so. Find your tribe, support groups, trusted friends, or faith based communities. I have shared my community many times. I have a special needs community online for special needs moms, and we meet once a month on Zoom. We have annual retreats, and it's faith based, but you don't have to be part of a church. You don't have to be fully into your faith to join this community that I have online. You don't. I believe that that comes with time as you get involved and you become part of the community. Another one is give yourself grace. I know this is one that I say a lot. because trust me, guys, I have to put that into work every single time and, remind myself that I'm not failing, but I'm fighting. I want you to tell yourself that I'm not failing, I am fighting. And last but not least, here's a quick faith reminder. And you know, if you have a Bible, then you can look this up. If you don't, write it down and search it up. Galatians 6:9 reminds us, let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Woo! That is so good. This is a reminder in God's word. So, advocacy is sowing seeds, even when we don't see the harvest yet. Okay? You are sowing seeds. This is not in vain. You're not advocating for your child in vain. You're not advocating for your child just because. You're not advocating for your child because you want to be known and seen. You are advocating because you are planting seeds, okay? And you are speaking up for your child, and you are going to reap a harvest. You may not see it now, but it is coming, my friend. It is coming. And it may look different for all of us. Your harvest may not be the same harvest as mine, but at the end of the day, your harvest is coming. You are not alone. Every mom, every dad carrying the weight of advocacy, you are seen. God sees you. Your child feels your love, even when systems don't reflect it. So, to close out, here's a call to action. Not to sit and chill, but to action, meaning move. Get to moving. Okay? Advocacy is love, but it's heavy. You are not weak for feeling the weight. And I want you to share your advocacy stories with me, whether it's on Instagram messages, via email, and I'll put that information below. Or you can just drop it down in the reviews section of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you're listening, or YouTube, drop it down in the comments. I would love to hear your advocacy story and how you overcame that specific situation. So again, advocacy, my friend, is exhausting, but it is not hopeless. It is not a hopeless situation. It's emotional, yes. It's sacred. It's also scary. But you're fighting for something bigger than paperwork. You're fighting for your child's future. And even when it feels like you're carrying this alone, remember, you are not unseen. God sees every battle you fight, even behind the scenes. Every tear you cry and every victory you win. Keep showing up. Keep going. You're doing holy work. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this episode. I pray and hope that this encouraged you, especially if you are in the trenches of advocacy for your child. I love you, and remember, you are not doing this alone. There's a God that sees you and loves you. Be proud of yourself on how long and how far you've come. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you again on another lovely episode of the Uniquely Wired podcast.